that would be to make use of tape style plugins. Okay, these are so underutilized, so underrated. In today's video, I'm gonna be showing you 4 advanced vocal mixing tricks I wish I knew sooner. Let's hop straight into it. As always, if you enjoyed today's tips, definitely make sure to check the links in the description for links to my vocal recording course, vocal mixing course, and vocal enhancer for FL Studio. If you are interested in getting your tracks mastered, definitely check out the link to LANDR Studio. LANDR Studio is a full-fledged suite that allows you to pretty much get your music mastered using AI, as well as get your music distributed. So if you want an all-in-one solution, definitely check that out. It'll support the channel and you'll be good to go. So let's get into it. So the first one would be to stack those EQs. Okay, one thing that I used to believe, okay, was that I needed to do all of my EQ using one plugin. Okay, now that may stand true when it comes to mixing in the analog world, but since we're mixing in the box, we really want to get that smoothness out of our vocals. And there's something beautiful that happens when we just mix up the right amount of phase. We start to get that kind of analog sound. Well, at least in my case, okay, I'm mixing in a flat room, and I can definitely hear something starts to happen when we get the right combination of EQ plugins. So, that's something that I have been making use of. So as a quick example, you can see that I'm using the Farai's vocal enhancer. Again, this is the newer version. This is available for FL Studio. Check that out. I'm using that a little bit just to get rid of some of that kind of, muddy region, right? The 200 to 300. I'm doing a little bit of toning there, doing a little bit of air EQ, boosting those highs, getting a little bit of that sizzle. This is acting almost as our kind of preamp module, okay? It's very normal for engineers in studios, for example, like I'm doing right now with the Neve, doing a little bit of a 12K boost, using a high pass filter at 80 Hertz. That's how I get my vocal sound, right? These are things that we do in the studio. Now, when I begin to mix the vocal, I'm gonna be mixing together an EQ like that, maybe a little bit of, Avalon. As you can see, I'm actually using this EQ just to reduce about 1.5 dB of, 2000 Hertz, right? That's just gonna help scoop away some of those kind of harsher, kind of mid-range frequencies, those upper mid-range frequencies. Can you see how I'm really just utilizing all of these different EQs to do very slight cuts and boosts, okay? And in the end, I get a much more refined sounding vocal. It sounds smoother, it sounds more in depth, and it sounds more analog. So that's my first tip. My second tip is pretty simple and sweet, but it is to actually make use of analog preamp technology. Okay, Acoustica will be a great company to do this with, or to to make use of this stuff with. There are free alternatives out there like Bus Color 4 from Air Windows. They have audio units and Windows plugins. You can check them out. But they got all sorts of interesting plugins that essentially do the same thing as what I'm doing here right now. Okay, what I'm doing is I have this preamp module pulled up, and essentially what it is emulating is a Pultec style unit. But it's not emulating the EQs or anything like that. It's simply emulating the kind of impulse response of whatever this H2 unit is. And what that does for me is it just kind of brings in a little bit of that analog flavor onto my vocals. But most importantly, it just kind of, puts all of my vocals together, because now all of my vocals are technically going through this device. All of the vocals should sound the same, right? So for example, if we just play this track, it's very minimal, okay?
I got a bad bitch in my place, she don't care if I touch.
Yeah, we rolling and smoking, I'm pouring a drink off the back when I'm breaking it down. Space coupe, yeah, just right around town. Kept with you, kept the clown. Been at the mall and customized yellow. Gucci on me, as a brand new sweater. She all on me, cause I get away with.
Right, it's so subtle, but when I have it on, just the ad-libs mix with the vocal, and I get a little bit of sizzle, and I get a little bit of kind of EQ out of a device like this. And my tip to you is just find a device you like. Waves have the NLS. They just released a new compressor plugin. I think that's got a little bit of analog character to it as well. Find something you like, apply it to your vocal bus, and you're going to see your vocals are going to sound a lot more together, right? If you're struggling with your vocal sounding all over the place, get a nice little compressor, right? I got a compressor there. Get a nice little analog style plugin and just get to work, and you'll see your vocals will sound better. So check that out. Now, my next tip is very much similar to the previous one, and that would be to make use of tape style plugins. Okay, these are so underutilized, so underrated, but I've began to I've started to use the T-Rax tape, and I really like the way it sounds. It just has a smoothness to it. I'm actually not even using my slate one anymore. I like this one a little bit better. It has a certain sound to it, okay? It's got this true stereo function, which I like, and I just really like it. Tape emulations, seem to have been forgotten because, we're so far in the future now. But in the 90s, a tape machine was on every record, right? You had to print a tape. Okay, that was before digital. And so why get rid of that, right? Why not just fully utilize what we have, right? These emulations sound great. Technology has gotten a lot better. There are many different, emulators out there. Waves have, Slate have, Universal Audio have. The list goes on. Find what you like. Isotope have. Find what you like. Apply it where you like. You can even use it on a parallel channel, right? Parallel that vocal limit, a little bit of tape saturation. Add it to your mix bus. Do what you do, but get creative with it and make use of tape. You're gonna find your record sounding a lot smoother, rounded off, more kind of warm, more lush. Check it out. My last tip is going to be to pretty much do this, right? So one thing I see amateurs not make use of are effects sends. Okay, so this tip right here is to make use of your effects sends, right? We have unlimited routing capabilities in your workstation. Make use of that. As you can see, I've got my main vocal chain right here, and I'm sending it to a array of different effect sends, right? I've got a reverb send, I've got my 2 delay sends, right? Some of them are automated, some of them aren't. I've got a slap delay, right? I've got a flanger, I've got Dolby kind of emulators, I've got H3000 emulators, right? And an actual H3000 on here. But I'm making use of all of those effect sends, and I'm using them in a very subtle way, okay? Because if I was just to slap them all at 100%, I would just get this really nasty, weird sounding vocal. But when I use them subtly and I mix them in and I make use of the techniques that I've acquired over the years, I get a much better result, right? So if we just quickly play the track, I'm going to mute the whole effects group, right? Meaning all of these are going to be muted, and you're going to hear the sheer difference, right? We're going to lose depth. We're going to lose character. Check this out.
Yeah, we rolling and smoking, I'm pouring a drink off the back when I'm breaking it down. Space coupe, yeah, just right around town.
So there you go, right? Very nice short delay, very nice short reverb.
Yeah, we rolling and smoking, I'm pouring a drink off the back when I'm breaking it down. Space coupe, yeah, just right around town. Kept with it.
Right, that's very cool, but it's not natural to the human ear, right? Pretty much every room we stand in, unless we're outside, even the outside there'll be wind ambience and things like that. But the human ear is just accustomed to hearing a little bit of an ambience in our vocals. And so if our vocals are purely dry, we're gonna find that quite strange. It's not really gonna gel with the beat, right? The instruments of a track generally have a bit of reverb on them, right? Try to emulate that space and just create something that is nice. Create a few delays, right? Animate the track. Add in all of these effects, if we kind of A/B that.
Yeah, we rolling and smoking, I'm pouring a drink off the back when I'm breaking it down. Space coupe, yeah, just right around town. Kept with you, kept the clown. Been at the mall and come some yellow. Gucci on me, as a brand new sweater. All on me, cause I get away. Never went to college, got money like professors. Engineer think I'm Elon Musk. Snakes in the grass, who can I trust? She keep wanting, don't switch it up. She throw it back on me, just back it up. I like the way you do it, yeah.
Right, beautiful stuff. By the way, check out the F3000. This is a emulator that we've made for FL Studio as well. So if you do want to get some of that depth, we got a cool little H3000 remake, kind of emulating our box in the studio. Really cool. It's got pitch shifting functions, delay functions, a little bit of a kind of nasty, kind of grody reverb. But beautiful stuff, right? So definitely utilize those effect sends, watch a few courses. Again, you can check out our course where we go in depth on that. But yeah, those are my 4 tips, things I wish, or, processing techniques that I wish I knew sooner. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Definitely make sure to smash that like button, subscribe. Whole lot of good content coming this year. Stay well, keep mixing, keep working. I'll check out in the next one. Peace out.